My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. All right, it is currently August 2nd, 2025. It's 1:19 a.m. And psychopaths are never taking a break, so that's why the entity is up at 1 o'clock in the morning stalking with amplified noise. This is relevant to the obsession that the demon-possessed share with the American citizens that they are routinely monitoring. The entity is engaged in criminal summoning. That's relevant to the amplification of noise. The entity is stalking with light activity. So it is currently right now 1:20 a.m. The people of the state stalking in the path as I cross the street. They're monitoring together. I'm going to capture this on video. This is crossing path monitoring with the Ontario police who are engaged in criminal summoning. This is federal stalking, NWA 7X2, and that's an Arizona plate. And what they're doing is they're monitoring with the Ontario Police Department. This is criminal summoning like they were doing. License 1644220 was engaged in criminal summoning while the fake sun remained right here over the building all day long. You saw them on video gang stalking at 9:45 in the afternoon, in the morning, where the fake sun was over me at this hotel. The entity is gang stalking as I step out at 5, and the fake sun was still right here over the hotel. This is criminal summoning and engineer light at night. So let me show you here. This is multiple shadows down here. Show you the Ontario police are obsessively stalking me. This is impossible light activity which coexists with what they're doing. This is just to show you the significance of the environment where you're creating light activity and you're monitoring. And there's psychopaths that engage in just sitting around stalking, just running police lights, exchanging paperwork with the people of the state who are the demons stalking with sensational activity. And they're doing so while they're monitoring. This is what the entity is doing. That's a demon flashing light. All right, they're doing it pursuant to now and everything I'm doing inside of the hotel room. These are the psychopaths. The people of the state are monitoring. This is again license plate that's engaged in criminal monitoring. Here's the shadows. This is criminal activity. License 9NGP 656 is monitoring. This is federal prison. This is the entity that's stalking by helicopter all day long while the fake sun remains over the hotel. These are demons. And they're engaging what is monitoring my vagina inside of my hotel room. They're doing standing in engineer light, stalking in the path at Economy Inn, vehicle 1047. These demons are going to federal prison, and this is mental illness exhibited to you. License 9NGP 656 are sharing in criminal surveillance with the Ontario Police. 1614356, federal prison. Vehicle 1045, license plate 1614325. And the entity is stalking with maintenance of engineer light, stationary, ongoing maintenance of activity while demons are stalking in the path. This is what Ontario Police is being disbanded for. That's an overweight, demon-possessed psychopath who's monitoring my vagina. Okay? He was monitoring while the entity was keeping amplified noise while demons are stalking in the path. The demons with the Arizona plates are monitoring me, stalking while these demons are stalking in the path. Mike LORENZ is being removed. They're going to federal prison. That's criminal summoning, 9NGP 656. And the Ontario Police is being disbanded. These are psychopaths. This is impossible light activity over here. This is where, and my shadows in front of me, that's not normal lighting. It's massive facilitation. All the people of the state are gang stalking with the corrupt police department. They're engaging what is wasting money, wasting resources, engaging in criminal stalking. Sex offenders that are obsessed with my vagina. This is the Jezebel spirit operating over Mike LORENZ and the entire department of stalkers. Demon possession. What is inspiring criminal panic? They're going to federal prison. All right, that's the entity that engaged in criminal summoning today, yesterday morning under the fake sun that was over this same entrance all day long, 9:45 a.m. And you saw it again remaining all day long while I'm documenting the people of the state all day long, and they're doing so in the specific environment. This is not natural light activity. The entities engaging in manifesting, releasing demons while their presence is in that engineered environment. My shadows are on both sides of me. That's the Ontario Police that's stalking as I'm documenting throughout the city of Ontario. That's P.O.C. And the entity was maintaining amplified audible noise. That's what drew my attention since the demons want to engage in monitoring. I went outside and documented, and of course the Ontario Police are gang stalking. This is P.O.C. It's currently 1:24 a.m. I documented the Ontario Police gang stalking by helicopter while I was at 12:20 somewhat around the same time, and the Ontario International Airport hovers over the building over there where I was standing, and the Ontario Police were pacing around, stalking in the path using helicopter. This is another iteration of them stalking overnight while they're keeping me under surveillance inside of this hotel room with sex offenders. This is the federal legal case against economy and the people of the state. It is 1:24 a.m. P.O.C. All right, capturing again the entity that's gang stalking, license KKB99, 9GTD 454. 9NEA 956. They're monitoring at this hotel room while the Ontario Police are in relevant position. These are demons that engage in stalking with amplified noise, sensational activities, stalking in the path with engineer light in the engineered environment, and you're supposed to not recognize it while the demons are engaged in criminal monitoring through a traffic stop. They're exhibiting mental illness in doing so. Mike LORENZ is being relieved from his duties, and he's being relieved publicly. Paul Leon is being removed from his duties. He's being removed publicly. The entity is going to be disbanded, and gang stalking police officers are going to federal prison. 9SYE890, gang stalking immigrants. License 3TBG137, 9CJE732, 9PDF937. NWA 7X2 is gang stalking with the Ontario Police, driving into the venue to cross path with me, helping the police keep me under surveillance. That's federal prison as criminal as engaging in a traffic stop with the police when you're gang stalking. License 5AMV693. You are going to federal prison. I don't care if you got a ticket. I don't care if you present, but I really got it's an admission to criminal monitoring. You will be prosecuted. 9LFH500. They're all gang stalking. License 6EUZ999, 9SPD246, GW08HV Texas, 23103U1, and 6JZE097. That's the loser that you saw under the 5 p.m. fake sun in perfect alignment with my hotel room when I'm documenting them monitoring me while I'm putting a tampon in, and they're engaging in the same maintenance of amplified noise inside of the bathroom. That's the same department monitoring right now. Okay, they're engaging in what is the P.O.C, and I have 3 shadows on the left side of my person while the demon from room 111 is stalking in the path, keeping their vision on the trash can while they're gang stalking you. That's a psychopath. This is P.O.C. It is currently, again, 1:26 a.m. This is the Economy Inn, again engaged in what is criminal summoning while the Ontario police are ceaselessly gang stalking, and they're doing so while the Ontario police are on Euclid Avenue, engaging the P.O.C. That's the demons that are monitoring me inside of my hotel room. The entity is a demon-possessed one, so this is not only criminal conduct that the Ontario police are engaging with the people of the state. This is demonic activity. This is domestic terrorism. P.O.C. You're going to see impossible light, which is manifesting in the shadow of my person that's on the door, layers of engineer light, where the Ontario police are stalking in the path, monitoring me specifically, pursuant to the pattern of conduct. P.O.C. It is, like I stated, it's the morning of, it's 1:27 a.m., August 2nd, 2025. The Ontario Police Department are being disbanded. This is P. All right, the demons engaging in criminal summoning. They're gang stalking with the police, which is federal prison. They're aiding in the conspiracy to murder and kidnap me. They are doing so as an entity that already committed attempted murder. And this license plate are gang stalking while they are not only crossing paths, driving into the parking lot to keep me under surveillance, stalking in the path with light activity as I move. The demon-possessed are always maintaining presence. That's what they're doing with those Arizona plates that I read. Let me remind you about that license plate. It's an overweight Caucasian male, overweight Caucasian female with a male in her path, with her, license NWA 7X2. That's an Arizona plate. That's the one I saw on video. They're walking east in the parking lot as though they're going to, they're crossing paths is what they're doing as I'm walking downstairs getting the license plates, and they're walking upstairs now while I'm standing by the bed. This female, I will be clear, she's overweight. She's very much overweight. She's excessive in her mass. While she's creating sensational activity, it is still nonetheless sensational activity. I don't care how fat you are. You're not causing any earthquake at a distance away from you inside of the depths of the hotel room, okay? The entity is engaging in activity, and the relevant context is the impossible light that you'll see in the parking lot. The maintenance of the same exact specific environment where the entirety of the entity of all sizes engaging in the same demonic pattern of conduct. And they're doing so in the specific environment where you are looking at the sun that remained over the west edge of the entrance of this hotel. From the beginning until the end of the day, like I documented yesterday, where the Ontario police are gang stalking me 24 hours a day, keeping my vagina under surveillance 24 hours a day, and witnessing my exposing them, keeping my vagina under surveillance 24 hours a day. And that is speaking to their ongoing obsession with my vagina, having committed attempted murder as an entity that is sexually obsessed with me while stalking me, okay? And doing so in the most psychopathic manners, such as using a traffic stop to be in relevant position. That is while they are creating light activity, and the maintenance of amplified noise coexists with that. And a fat girl is not the natural explanation for what is sensational activity inside of my hotel room. All right, the demons are creating sensational activity inside of my hotel room when nobody is even walking or pushing any cart in front of my room. That's a demon, a heavy one, and she is gang stalking with the Ontario police just like she is on video. And she is crossing path while I am uploading the documentation onto the video of the internet. She is again engaging in federal stalking as I'm giving you this iteration of the P.O.C. at 1:29 a.m. Crossing path in impossible light, which is what covers the outside of the building. I captured my shadow that's appearing on the door, and you'll see the shadow of the gate appearing within the shadow of my person. That's layers of light, which is, again, impossible to occur from any short of street lamps. The entity, it's the same light activity during the day when you're looking at the engineer light underneath the shaded structure and the sun is above the building. Even though it's there for 12 hours, it's still above the building, and there's no light where the shadow of the gate should be on the ceiling. In my room, this is the engineer light, and this fat girl is the method of what is amplified audible activity, sensational activity, while she is targeting me with her demon-possessed male partner that's gang stalking with the Ontario police, okay? The entity is engaging in this on an ongoing basis. This is the sex offense by the demon-possessed that are obsessed with me, and the entity is also obsessed with my ability to expose them. I just want to be clear. These are psychopaths that both want to harm me, and they're also obsessed with the idea of sexual activity with me. They're obsessed with my genitalia, and I'm openly exposing that because that's a threat to your life, while the mentally ill, the special needs population are keeping you under surveillance, and that is shared by those whose name you know. Shared irrespective of the relationship you have, that's shared by demons who are family members of yours, demons who are in your social circle, demons that you go to church with, Demons that you go to school with, don't know, never met, never spoke to, they're all monitoring you together. And those demons that are sexually obsessed with me that cannot stop gang stalking, as the evidence has already proven, are exactly why they're going to federal prison. And I continuously document badge numbers and license plates and criminal conduct with regard to what will be the production of identities of demons stalking me in helicopters and stalking me in Ontario Police Department vehicles, and you're going to federal prison. And the inability to control your mental illness is because of the fact that you are demon possessed, and you have witnessed what is the exposure of your condition and what is the inevitable demise. You're going into cages where you belong. You belong in the facilities that you are going into. And you're listening to me right now, and everybody else is listening to me tell you what's going to happen to you, Mike Lorenz, and everybody under that corrupt department. You're going into the appropriate facilities while everyone is witnessing what demon possession looks like and how it is a threat when it is in the business of law enforcement where it has no business whatsoever. And you're also going to federal prison for gang stalking in Ontario, California. This is the department that committed repeated kidnappings. This is the criminal conduct that the Ontario Police Department are engaging in on May 29, 2025, pursuant to criminal summoning. That's what Tracy Banks is engaging in while she commits kidnapping. This is what Starbucks, the people of the state, and the Ontario Police are engaging in on July 4, 2025. This is the same department, gang stalking, severely obsessed with me and using and abusing what is a position where you are ignorant about that. These are demons that want to threaten and psychologically torture me and harass and threaten me in a manner that is not readily identifiable on the surface, but for the P.O.C. And now everyone is looking at what the Ontario Police Department has been doing for years in furtherance of committing murder. They are the same corrupt police department that have committed attempted murder as an entity already, and they're still stalking me. All right? They're engaging in the criminal elements of monitoring while they're engaging in what is claiming, you can claim to engage in what is giving someone a ticket, arresting someone for a warrant. They're doing it in the specific environment. It is also a criminal admission to what is monitoring the target individual, and you're going to federal prison for it. I don't care if they have a warrant or not, you're going to federal prison. Nothing is superseding the pattern of conduct, and the entity is maliciously engaging in that P.O.C. in such manners for that malicious purpose. Okay, and it's also highly unintelligent. When you're issuing what is citations under the fake sign, you're going to federal prison. This is the entity that's engaging in that P.O.C. It is currently 1:35 a.m. The entity should engage in this and then not also engage in what is stalking me for 10 minutes on video under a fake sun that sits over the same edge of the building for 12 hours. That's when they should engage in criminal summoning. The entity should engage in that conduct and then not engage in what is stalking me in helicopter at every other location that I am located in the city of Ontario. They shouldn't do that when the sun does not sit over where I am located at one building for 12 hours, then try to engage in something that appears on its surface and in substance to be something legitimately focused on the people that you're talking to, as opposed to exhibiting severe mental illness and delusion at the same time when your obsession with me is shown and proven, while you're present in that environment engaging in the elements of monitoring in a manner that everybody recognizes, specifically the federal government, and they are going to diagnose you, not look at you as anything other than a gang stalker. You're not hidden. You are not clever. You're not intelligent. And you're also not innocent. You're going to be placed in the appropriate facilities. This is criminal summoning again. You're looking at another iteration of it. It is the removal of Mike Lorenz from not only the position as a gang stalking fire chief, an oxymoron that's going to be dealt with in the United States. He's removed from law enforcement. He's not going to any other agency. He is done with law enforcement. Okay? And that's the same with the entirety of the demon-possessed that are calling themselves right now the Ontario Police. All right? The YouTube channel where you will see a wealth of evidence exposing the ongoing domestic threat, the enemy to the American citizens, which represents the corrupt executive branch of the Ontario Police Department. There's a wealth of evidence exposing them on the venue of the internet. Right now, the YouTube channel is this is the P.O.C. and also on the P.O.C. website. And their mental illness is also on full display. When you're understanding what is criminal monitoring, it's demonic activity. It is inhumane and unconstitutional surveillance. And it is also an exceedingly violent sex offense that the entity commits with the intent to psychologically torture, all right? The entity is doing so as an entire department. This is the entity that spends money, spends manpower and hours, 24 hours a day, keeping me under surveillance in concert with the people of the state, and they share that same obsession. They share that obsession. Their obsession is proven to the specific environment, not their psychopathic delusion that looking to the left and the right and me not knowing their name means that they're not stalking. This is the entity that doesn't even understand the legal relevance, the analysis of their own sick behaviors. Okay, and this is because the entity merely murders people and kidnaps them. They've never been approached with what is an intellectual approach to the criminal conduct, which is also mentally disturbing. It's depraved, it's despicable, it's corrupt, and it's also demented. They've never been approached with that because they murder people. This is why you're gang stalking, to murder people. And you kidnap them, you steal from them. That's why they are, again, engaging in what is clearly showing obsession. They lack self-control. They are falling apart at the hems. Excuse me. They have already fallen apart. You're witnessing what is an embarrassment upon what is a prosecution. Okay? The Ontario Police Department literally cannot stop stalking. They cannot stop stalking. That's because they're demons. And it's also relevant to the threat that they have already posed and the harm that they've already committed. And that's exactly why also they're going to be disbanded. Okay, it is currently 1:39 a.m. That's criminal monitoring, and that's a threat to my life and safety and well-being, which remains underway. The entity is stalking with ongoing amplified noise. Doing so at 1 o'clock in the morning is pursuant to the entity that's stalking in the path. That's the Ontario Police, and this is what the entity is doing all day long under a fake sun. This is what an entity is doing with regard to every move that I make. This is what the entity is doing with regard to everything that I document, everything that I even observe. The demons are obsessed, including while they're maintaining surveillance on the 60 freeway. That's not traffic. It is about me. And that's what's so pathetic about this living dead population. The demon-possessed surround in the United States, and I'm just going to keep it to the United States because I'm an American citizen, but obviously the inevitable implications regarding this satanic pattern of conduct that's happening in the environment, which defies nature. It's letting you know what's happening around the world. But with regard to the prosecution, the demon-possessed fill this country. And they are a population that are a threat to people that don't know that they're there, don't know the significance of what they're doing right in front of your face. You don't know the true sentiments that they hold towards you. And it's not about caring about what people think and how people feel about you, but it is about knowing when you have enemies that are counting on your demise and you don't know it, that is a threat to you. And you do need to be aware of that. And this is relevant to exposing a living dead population. They want to present as mentally sane. They want to present as healthy, normal individuals, and they're not. Couldn't be farther from the truth. The demon-possessed are gang stalking, and it is a national security threat. So that's not hyperbole. It's revealing criminal conduct. The entity is gang stalking only to commit murder and kidnap. They're gang stalking to get away with it. So they're not gang stalking you in order for it. So people that claim, oh, I was gang stalked before, they don't just stop gang stalking you. That's not how that goes. Okay, so when you represent a threat and the government is targeting you, the government is targeting you with the purpose of taking your life, taking your liberty in order to permanently silence you, and that is included, if not killing you, that is killing your reputation so that nobody will ever listen to you anyway, discarding you. And anything that you say, it's just going to be written off as, oh, that person's crazy. Anyway, that's the whole purpose of gang stalking. But the P.O.C. is showing that the entity is going to be diagnosed with the very same illusions that they present that is designed to falsely depict the character of the targeted individual. No longer will the entity's mental illness be projected onto innocent American citizens who are very much gifted in a position that the entity wants to be and wants to steal from that targeted individual. The mental illness is going to be appropriately placed, and the entity is going to be appropriately diagnosed, and the entity is going to be placed in the appropriate facilities based on what their condition is and what their conduct consists of. All right, it's currently 1:41 a.m. This is P.O.C. at Economy Inn, 2301 South Euclid Avenue. This is relevant to the entity that is obsessed with me. The more that I document and publish, the more the psychopathic behavior of the Ontario Police Department persists. All right, well, you're listening to the entity talking about, oh, go to Ruth's house, the shelter. You can go to this shelter, you can go to that shelter. You need to understand that the entity, the police department is stalking with the shelter. That's what Simba is doing. That's what they are doing at the shelter. That's what the city of Ontario is doing. That's what the people of the state, the demons that are gang stalking at this hotel are doing. That's what the people of the state are doing as the public entity is acting with the civilian population. The entity is gang stalking at a shelter, and that threat, that specific environment, continues to the shelter. It is not an actual remedy. It's not a response. It's not an answer for the position that the targeted individual was placed in because, and I'm referring to, I'm I'm both at the same time advocating on behalf of the ordinary targeted individual and talking about my specific circumstance. Being a licensed attorney and being targeted at work is something that directly impacts my ability to go to work anymore. I'm not going to put my license that I worked very hard for and that I finance my education for, I'm not going to put that in jeopardy because I'm dealing with a lot of ignorant people that are looking for some sort of, they want to try to ruin prospects for me by creating what the drama where there is none, or creating problems where there is none. And so that is something that I should not have to do, but that's something that I'm doing to protect myself and protect my professional posture. That's a threat, though, and that's a threat to your ability to go to work and be free from terrorism. As I go into property management, you're witnessing what LAPD is doing: gang stalking, terrorism, psychological torture in the workplace by your co-workers, by your employer, by the people of the state that you're working with, that you're encountering in the specific environment. Also where I'm living. Okay, that's beyond harassment in the workplace. That's terrorism in the workplace, psychological torture in the workplace. That's not ordinary harassment. And you have a human right, not just a constitutional right, to not be subject to that. This is what the same entity that committed attempted murder as an entity engaged in the workplace. That's why I'm in this economical stance. It is not the fruits of my labor. I have made no wrong decisions. I have not been irresponsible in any regard, nor have I ever been, by the way, as an adult taking care of myself. And this is not because I need to defend myself. I'm speaking to the pattern of conduct. Going to a shelter is not a remedy. The Ontario Police Department are gang stalking with any venue that I go to. That's an unlawful threat that continues. And the entity is responsible for and is going to be accountable for and is being disbanded for kidnapping in order to place you and surround you in this circumstance where they can take your life, where they can blame you for what happens to you, that they do to you. They do it to you. Every single last aspect of it. This is also why Mike LORENZ is being removed. This is why they're being disbanded. This is why Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields are going to federal prison. The entity is sitting on my money, my property, and property that belongs to me, and I've been homeless as of 2018, moving away because the people of the state were in my apartment. That was my apartment in Upland, California, and I did not welcome the government to live in my castle. I didn't welcome that. And the entity, the people of the state, started committing assault and battery, which I documented. Once I called that demon out for what she is, Tracy Banks is a demon. And that demon became violent. Okay, that demon engaged in what are putting her hands on me, and then just started the P.O.C. and immediately started summoning the police. Well, she's engaged in acts of violence, but started summoning the police even before she started getting violent, just summoning the police for no reason. That's criminal summoning. She was monitoring while I decided to take action after that, but realize that the harassment that I was subject to in my home, the ongoing harassment at work, the harassment at church, the harassment amongst strangers when I'm out in public, and this is before I am even recognizing the specific environment that surrounds me, and the demon-possessed are engaged in gang stalking me, and I'm being gang stalked in my own home. And then when you're engaging in physical violence and you're calling the police willy-nilly, and you want to talk about Black Lives Matter, this was a whole new development, especially amongst, there was no problem until Tracy Banks was exposed as a demon. Then she started calling the police all the time. And why? Because this demon had the entire time maintaining a sexual relationship with her partner, Jason Isaac Fields, conspiring to maintain a secret conservatorship while they have a whole secret marriage and a means to steal property from me. And calling the police was a part of immediately creating a paper trail when I am letting you know about this criminal pattern of conduct, showing you their mental illness, and Tracy Banks is immediately getting into position, getting into character. Criminal summoning is with regard to creating a paper trail in order to falsely depict your character while those psychopaths are gang stalking you. She immediately started this in 2018. Okay? But I just want to be clear. This is what is creating what is an economic hardship. Okay? An unlawful one. And the entity is doing so pursuant to targeting you, and the entity is targeting because they are trying to get you into a circumstance that they want to. It's murder committed by the state. It's not an accident, it's not negligent, it's not a disappearance, it's murder committed by the state. The entity already committed attempted murder while targeting me on the job so that I cannot go to work in a peaceful manner. I worked too hard. It was too expensive. I financed my own education. This high school graduate, this harlot, Tracy Banks, did not give me $1 to get through college or law school. She didn't counsel me one day. Neither did Jason Isaac Fields. He's literally irrelevant. His only relation is that he engaged in having sexual activity and they both worship Satan. That's it. That has no qualification for having any access to my property. But he is still, and they are still maintaining access and control over my property while I'm outside documenting a bunch of sex offenders, wielding weapons, threatening me, following me around all over the place. That's what the Ontario police and the people of the state are engaging in. They're going to federal prison. They're going to federal prison, and the federal government is permitting that. This is an ongoing unlawful threat to my liberty, to my life, my safety, my well-being, and I should not even be in this circumstance. There's property that belongs to me, money that belongs to me right now, and I'm sitting in a filthy hotel around a bunch of psychopaths that sit around obsessing and praying to Satan about my vagina, and they cannot stop stalking me, while other people are sitting on property that belongs to me. That's why you're going to federal prison. In addition to the unfathomable level of hardship inherent to gang stalking, I'm going to recover civilly, and the entity is going to be prosecuted criminally. All right? But understand the big picture. Going to a shelter, Ruth's shelter, they're a gang stalker. They're gang stalking. The state of California is engaged in criminal monitoring. That is not an answer. It's not a response. It's not, and it's also not a legitimate one. Simba is monitoring. Okay. Ashley Goldsmith, is gang stalking me while talking about and referring to Ruth's shelter, Ruth's house. That's a gang stalker. Just like Mercy House is a gang stalker. Just like the city of Ontario is a gang stalker while providing housing division services. It's the P.O.C. All right. It's currently 1:49 a.m. Keep all of this in mind because the people of the state are going to federal prison. The entity, the gang stalkers have been stealing my money for years while I've been documenting and enduring hardship and documenting in order to enforce my rights and prove what the government and the people of the state have done to me and done so in furtherance of trying to kill me and defame my character in doing so. But has been doing so while I'm remaining in an impoverished state, and I'm the only person with a college education and with a degree and having taken the bar, and it's totally opposite the way that my history, my background, what my credentials are, and those that have stolen from me, and those that are gang stalking me, and those that are targeting me, and those that have defamed me. Okay, this is what is so backwards about what the demon-possessed have committed against me, and I'm going to enforce my rights with regard to that. But these are things that you can look at on the surface with regard to who's speaking on my name. They're doing so necessarily behind my back, while they're stealing property and money that belongs to me, that which they're envious about, and they all engaged in targeting me together, and I didn't have to make up anything. It's within the evidence of the P.O.C. Okay, it is currently 1:50 a.m. It is August 2nd, 2025. At Economy Inn, where I remain subject to the pattern of conduct that the Ontario police are engaging in, showing their ongoing obsession with me, which is a threat to my life. This is P.O.C.